Ones and greetings. It has been a while since we've gathered together. This is Sunday, June 20th, the day of the solstice. And for those of you who are familiar with the term, it is an astronomical position of the sun in relation to the Earth and our elliptical, and it ends up in the northern hemisphere being the longest day of the year, meaning that there is more sunlight, there is more sun in the day than there is night. And the reverse is true in the southern hemisphere. This is the start of winter in the southern hemisphere and the start of astronomical summer in the northern hemisphere. That's not necessarily meteorologically, which actually begins earlier in the year and extends through August. But we're working today with the astronomical positioning of the sun in relation to us. I'm trying to get a little bit of a glimpse of our altar today, which I will show you in a little bit more detail. But it does include many of the items that came with me back from the desert, and I will show them to you more specifically in a moment. I also want to bring in the energetics of, as well as the sun, the energetics of the desert, the Mojave Desert in particular, that I just returned from, and two other beautiful beings who are always very, very present in my world. Excuse me, I'm going to bring them over so you can see them better. But we are in such a time of prophecy, and we are in such a time of combining the energetics of the earth with the cosmos, with the indigenous and ancient knowledge. And this is very vital in our ability to continue this evolutionary leap that we're in process of. The items that I was bringing over are two Hopi Kachina, which are still part of the Hopi tradition and part of their knowledge that has yet to really be widespread. The Hopi culture is a very, very advanced culture, and the information from that culture is little known, but again, they're a very advanced group of beings, and as we grow and evolve, their information will be more accessible to us. The Native American tribes around where I was just on retreat last week are very different and make up quite a few different tribes within a group. All the land that I was sitting on, the entire area, as a matter of fact, which kind of includes Palm Springs, is Native American land, and it actually was ceded back to the tribes in that area, and they do own some of the gambling casinos and hotels, and have been able to obtain some resources from that. However, this was an area that, as much of the West was devastated by the invasion of white culture, and in many ways has yet to recover. It's a very strange looking land. The landscape itself, the plants and animals are absolutely fascinating. This was very near Joshua Tree National Park, and the Joshua Tree is a fascinating tree. I'll show you a picture of that. And it's something, oops, sorry. It is a very fascinating tree. There are forests of this, meaning that there are wide expanses where there's thousands of Joshua trees. And the desert is a very interesting place. Many people are very uncomfortable in the desert, not only because of the heat, but because it appears very arid, very empty of life, which is absolutely the opposite to be true. The area teems with life, from insects to fascinating animals of the amphibian type, the frogs and lizards, as well as birds. We have the quail there as very, very stands out, as well as the roadrunner. Very different than the roadrunner in the cartoon, but in many ways similar. They are very, very fast. They are fascinating beings. I really encourage you to do some exploration. It's not only because I recently came back and am transmitting today the energy of what is the Mojave Desert, but and the surrounding area and the mountains, which I'll mention, the San Jacinto Mountains, San Jacinto as it should be pronounced, as well as many other smaller mountain ranges in the area. And we are on this day of the solstice, beginning the, as I said, official astronomical start of summer. And I'm struck by this being. Last year, if you remember, there was a couple of different Ancient Future Wisdom episodes where we were working with the drought in the West. It has continued and worsened. I have friends in Northern California even, which is not as bad as Southern California as far as the heat and the water shortage, but they're already rationing water. They're already being prevented from using outside water, watering lawns, sprinklers, playing in the water outside, etc. And this is only going to get worse, not only for the western states, but last year, Europe had its hottest year on record, which has been couple hundred years of keeping records. And a recent report in the geophysical papers by NASA and NOAA, NOAA, which is the National Organization of Atmospheric, I can't remember the last letter. But in any case, they both monitor our atmosphere, monitor the Earth, and let me get the terms straight, are correct for you. It is in reference to the heat factor, that whether the energy of the Earth is actually The number measures the amount of heat or radiant heat that the Earth absorbs and how much it reflects back out to the cosmos, and what it absorbs from the sun and the thermal infrared radiation it sends back into space. There is a great imbalance, and that imbalance has doubled in the last 14 years. Researchers attributed the imbalance to greenhouse gas emissions and to a feedback loop that was set in motion by the excessive heat. This leads to the oceans absorbing more heat and less ice covering the surface of the Earth. And one of the reasons for the drought in California and in the West is that there has been much less snow on the mountains, so there's much less runoff, so there is much less water accessible in the reservoirs. The lakes are at their lowest. Lake Mead, which is a huge man-made lake for reservoir of water in Nevada, California, and I believe it also feeds into Arizona. And that is the lowest it's ever been. They've had to pull out many of the houseboats because there is not enough water to keep them afloat. Lake Powell is down. There are many others. This makes it really, really challenging for the distribution of water. There's also a very upsetting documentary on the water situation in California and how the large farms, in combination with some compromised council members on the water council, changed laws in such a way that it allows for the majority of water to be distributed to these larger farms. And in fact, residences and other areas receive much less than what would be their normal quota. So I'm sharing all of this because it is a very important and significant aspect of our lives and how we, in our daily choices, can affect what goes on our planet. The bottom line is that much of this imbalance, whether it's the heat radiating and absorption, or whether it is the lack of water, most of these imbalances have been caused from our complete disconnect from the Earth as our partner, as our collaborator, as our, in many traditions, our mother, for it is the source of our life, our food, and does maintain our existence here on the planet. And those imbalances are not only creating difficulty certainly in our country, but on every continent. The wildfires in California and Oregon last year, the devastation to the tree population, the massive wildfires in Australia, the heat index in Europe. There is more and more effects being felt, being experienced. The excessive storms, all of this is due to an imbalance. We can go into great detail, and I will post a wonderful article by, I think it came out in I think it was the New York Times a few days ago, or I sourced it a few days ago. I think it was written some time back, of the real definition of climate change and all the different factors and the pertinent information about how and what exactly is going on from a wide range of scientific disciplines. So, and these normally are not connected to one another, and so this is a beautiful overview of what has been happening. This I'm stating all of this because we actually have the opportunity to change things, not only through activism, not only through physical steps that we can take on an individual basis, but more so on a spiritual and energetic basis. And by that I mean that we, in our energy field structure, hold and have the same, many of the same structures as the earth. I've mentioned this before, those of you who have been kind of following some of these talks, that we have an electrical field within us. We have a magnetic field, a magnetic grid. We have an electromagnetic grid. We have ley lines, which are the acupuncture lines that many are familiar with. We have the same chemical makeup as the earth, and we have another more subtle energy structure, which is the earth itself. And when we are connected to ourselves, we can be connected to the earth of us. And for each individual, our unique connections, our unique soul purpose aligns us with, or is reflected in the earth of us, specific locations on the earth, specific geological structures, specific aspects of nature. And by that I mean that at any particular person may have not just an affinity for mountains, but actually has a deeper connection to mountains and can hold and transmit that energy to be of benefit to the earth. So when I'm gathering a group together, oftentimes it is either your spiritual resources, other existences that you're connected to that you may be holding space for and channeling or transmitting. Other people at a given moment in time feel more alignment with another aspect of the earth, and that will be combined in the group effort. So today, for those of you who may be listening at a later point, I am going to try to get the camera over to the altar so that we can include some of the aspects that are here with us today that have come in over the past week, have come in this morning. We have, if you can see the two kachinas there, one is the kachina of the sun, a very, very powerful and significant being right there. That's a kachina. And this is the kachina or the eagle kachina. Again, today is actually, according to the Sierra Club, today is Eagle Day, and that would be very significant because the eagle does represent Great Spirit. It represents the highest perspective that we can look from, and has always been related to the sun and certainly to the direction of the east and the sun rising. There is a piece of a tree from the desert. There is a surprising piece of eucalyptus that showed up. This is a fascinating, if you can see that, that is actually a little plant, and it looks like there's little baby balloons, but this is how it shows up. It did not quite make it in one piece all the way back. There again is the eagle kachina that traveled with me. This is a beautiful piece of stone from the desert, and another from the large boulders in the area. These are some of the flora and fauna of the area, the animals, and that is Joshua Tree, and that's a good view of the boulders there. Huge boulders that oftentimes are seen on other elevations in the area as tiny little stones, so it's broken down. And this is obviously a robin's egg that appeared in my backyard as I was listening to yet another tree being cut down in the neighborhood. Very large one, for it took them quite a few hours. This is a beautiful woven piece from Peru. One of the facilitators at the retreat has godchildren in Peru and brought some of their beautiful woven materials. The sun, as usual, and these bright orange roses that came across my path this week and had to come and join me. So those are just some of the energetics. We also have the energetic of the San Jacinto Mountains, which is the large mountain range that runs around Palm Springs and in that immediate area. Much smaller, those are the much smaller mountains and peaks all around. So that's the energetic also that is very, very present in the mountains. Obviously the sun, we're following through with the sun and all over. And so on a more psycho-spiritual basis, we are talking about this brilliance, this sun, this heat that is today, the solstice, kind of bookending the past month's astronomical events, starting with the lunar eclipse on May 26th, followed up on June 10th by the solar eclipse, which we were only able to see a tiny little portion of in this area, the East Coast, more visible and completely visible to very northern Canada and Greenland. And now following through on the 20th of June with the solstice. So this has been a very powerful time for really exposing and being aware of loops, being aware of ways in which we find ourselves going around and around and around, particularly for those that have been working on a mastery, a soul purpose mastery. There has been opportunities for multiple initiations throughout this current period of time. Initiations meaning that we are able to move through, become aware of, transform, transmute some of the core issues, core challenges, core human nature aspects. And that's really what we are doing at this point. We are, we're really making an evolutionary leap in, excuse me, in the evolution of human nature. And that's pretty powerful because, you know, this isn't just a question of transforming old ways. We are literally moving from one entire way of exploring and studying duality to a completely different form or up-leveling of that duality. So we have the lunar eclipse really bringing those emotions forward. We have the solar eclipse shining a light on them, burning them off, giving us that opportunity at the solar eclipse. And to now really vision, what is your vision for yourself? What is your vision for this world? And by vision, I really am referring to dreaming. What do you dream of occurring in your life and through that expression of your soul's purpose? What would you like to see changed, evolved on the planet in regard to social issues, in regard to cultural, political, physical issues, regarding the environment, regarding your town, your country? All of this is at your is accessible to you. It sometimes can feel certainly like we have such a huge challenge that nothing can be done by the individual, and that is quite the contrary. When we drop deep into our own internal world, we are able to feel into, connect into, and be in relationship with the subtle energy behind and under all that is present in this reality. And when we gather in groups, that combined energetic is exponential in its reach. So please join me here. There's going to be a lot more trainings, a lot more events, a lot more opportunities for you to learn more about your internal world and how you can affect the outer world. So look ahead. There will be a new group starting. I invite you to pop into that group, to sign up, because there will be opportunities for other workshops and day-long events virtually and some in person. So this is an opportunity as we drop in today to allow your wider self, your guides and teachers and masters, your innate, which is your internal wisdom, your inner compass, to guide you into an opportunity to really feel your vision. If you don't have one, then allow for little clues, bites of information, symbol, sound, shape, song title, story, book, legend, myth, movie, memory, cartoon, character from a book, your wider self, your energy field, your guides and teachers and masters speak in symbolic and metaphoric form and can access anything and everything that you have been exposed to from even before birth and secondarily through family and culture. So instead of using your mind to come up with something, really allow for you to be met by these other parts of you, by your wider self, by your guides and teachers and masters, and those energies that are here today. So without further ado, I really suggest and invite you to find your sits bones and allow yourself to feel them. They're the kind of pointy bones in the very center of each buttocks. And when you are able to situate yourself on those bones, then you will find your shoulder blades kind of moving together and sliding down, lifting your chest. Nothing you have to do purposefully. It falls into place when you allow your skeletal structure to do what it's supposed to do. We all have a tendency to hold ourselves rather than allow. And at this time, I am going to call in some very particular guides and teachers and masters that are always here with me when I'm working. Michael, who holds mutual duality, in this case, the day and night, sun, moon, the earth, all aspects and forms of duality, for they all are purposeful, necessary, and in exact right order of this design, this plan, and your experiences, your awarenesses, your mind loops that sabotage and hold you back, all are part of this mix, this alchemy. We have joining us today as well, the Divine Mothers, as always. And as always, we call in the elements, the earth, the air, fire, and water to be in right relationship. And as we're looking today at that imbalance between the fire and water, between the earth and the air as temperature, excessive heat, so many places on the planet, not allowing for the recuperation and the rejuvenation of so many soil, land masses, plant beings, animals. And as always, we call in our chiefs of the directions, the direction of the east, the direction of the west, the direction of the south, the direction of the north, the direction of above, the direction of below, and the direction of within. I invite the kachinas of the Hopi, particularly the kachina of the sun and the eagle kachina, beings from other dimensions who are here guiding and teaching, who have been here, who come at special times throughout the year to assist, to commune, to remind, to support. The energy of the deserts, so many different types, so many different forms. The Mojave, I was very near the border of both the Mojave and the Sonoran Desert. Very different environments in their way. And what seems so arid and barren is quite the contrary, teeming with life and adaptivity to that environment. The brilliant sun and all that it allows us and gives us for life itself. And calling in and calling upon that within us that radiates, has the potential to radiate and reach and warm and touch and heal and grow and feed and inform, as does the sun. Bring particular attention to your third chakra that is located just below where your ribs come together, that round bone right underneath. That xiphoid is where your third chakra sits. Allow yourself to feel, sensate that area of your body. Notice anything, any sensation, any experience, whether physical or energetic. As you may know, that is represented by the color yellow, bright yellow. And that is where your sense of yourself, your empowerment to shine, to radiate, your place, your knowing, your way, your particular divine soul plan for this lifetime. Allow yourself to sink down and inward to your internal world, the inner wisdom, your inner verse. For as you allow yourself to sink down and inward, you're able to experience, not merely vision or imagine, but literally, physically experience this moment, this combined energetic alchemy. Another opportunity to be revealed to yourself. And all of the unpleasant, uncomfortable, sabotaging ways for these are indicators, they are signs, they are paths by which you can explore deeper and deeper within, which allows you wider knowing of yourself, your divine nature, your human nature, which are one and the same. As well as the golden aspects of your beingness. The essence aspects that you brought from your wider soul self through to this physical expression of your soul. And with a very, very profound and surrendering energetic to allow the knowledge, to allow the true vision of your expression here on this planet. Firing up your passion with the energy of the sun, radiating that expression of you out into the world. This is an opportunity for your wildest dreams to come forth, your wildest dreams to formulate. Handing over to your wider self, your guides and teachers and masters, and divine order, how that vision is to be expressed. Trusting, however little or however much you may, that the right opportunities, people, means will meet you, lead you, show you, remind you. For when you are in relationship to your soul vision, it enables you to be in relationship to this mind-bogglingly beautiful, complex, intricate, interrelated planet, and that you are a significant and purposeful aspect of this entire divine, magnificent project. For it is, of course, under a redesign, and your vision, your expression of the essence of you, what you dream of this world being, is creating that design, that new way. Never doubt your influence, never doubt your significance, never doubt how much you matter. In this great scheme. Feel your body, feel your energy field, sensate the information that comes in. The mind and the higher mind, when we travel up and out, is so limited compared to when we travel down and in to your inner verse. You left yourself a map, you left yourself an entire library of past experience, accumulated knowledge, experience as beautifully orchestrated that this solstice falls on Father's Day. As we are evolving the previous masculine-oriented exploration of duality, evolving, transforming, transmuting the old way of power over, control, oppression, to the new way of connection, communication, cooperation, collaboration, and communing. First and foremost with self, humanly, energetically, and with others. We all know that we must work together to survive. For the earth will correct herself, and we may be corrected right off of the planet. This is a vital time for you to come forth, to break free from the fears and limitations to allow yourself to shine brightly, for your vision to reach far and wide. For as you are aligned, so too will those aspects of earth, nature, with which you are deeply connected, perpetuate, flourish, and come back into right order. For the mutual benefit of all beings. Simply by doing you, simply by allowing your widest vision of yourself your wildest dreams of what can occur in the new earth, the new way of earth. Allow the brilliance of this longest day here in the northern hemisphere to show you, to light up your path. Draw, paint, sculpt with clay, Play-Doh, anything. Allow some symbolic form in the physical to be imbued with your vision. Have it with you as you work, as you sleep. Now, once again, deeply allowing the wisdom of your wider self, the accumulated knowledge held within your energy field from multiple existences. Allow your wider self and your energy field to guide you and show you and lead you from this perhaps altered state, perhaps less physical state, back to a more physical, third-dimensional, earthly state, but without that separation. Allow that wider vision, that expansive, radiated self to be incorporated assimilated into your everyday actions, choices, awareness, receiving validation and confirmation and more information over the next 24 to 48 hours, for this is a wide reach practice. You are welcome to re-listen as many times as you choose. to deepen and expand your vision for yourself, for your community, for this breathtaking, mind-boggling Earth experience. I will be announcing and inviting people into the new Universal Alchemy group that will have daily, weekly teachings, current energetics, deep drops, and I look forward to seeing you there. Please make comments on this video of pieces of information or clues or your vision itself. For as you do so, that is in the container, and all of the energetics that were here with us today, all of those people that will be listening to this at any point in time, that combined effort exponentially empowers your vision. So the more you're able to share, the more physicalized it can become. As always, it is with the deepest of honor, gratitude, and love for your presence here on the planet. Until next time, enjoy.